garde le contrôle. On est là, mais on garde le contrôle, les Bleus.
Stéphane Lebeau has enjoyed some of his life's greatest moments on the ice.
First on puck.
It's also on the ice that some of his problems likely started. For years now, the former National Hockey League player has been plagued with health issues.
It's headaches, migraines, and lately small vision problems, slight memory loss. But the hard part is, well, I'm getting older. I'm 50 now. To what extent is my age or other factors having an impact on these issues? But given what we know now about concussions, these issues could very well be a direct consequence of all the concussions I suffered during my hockey career.
As a coach, Lebeau no longer takes part in the vicious exchanges hockey is known for. Far from discouraging, the violent display fascinates new generations, perhaps unaware of the risks of playing the sport.
Oh yes, the equipment nowadays, the technology, they've made progress, which means we have good helmets, we're 100% protected. Compared to before, we're definitely better protected.
Some former NHL stars feel otherwise. They are sounding the alarm on concussions and its invisible injuries. Crippling depression has led some hockey veterans to commit suicide. Others are choosing to speak out.
What's the point of playing professional sports? And it's supposed to be for the memories, you know? And you can't remember that anymore. It's really scary.
Carcillo's testimonial on the Players' Tribune struck a chord online, quickly surpassing 1 million views.
When I see injustice, I need to act. And I need to hold people accountable. The truth. Tell the truth.
Carcillo's target, the National Hockey League. He says while the NHL is turning its back on sick athletes, research proves there is a link between repeated injuries to the head and trauma. In Toronto, the Canadian Concussion Centre treats former professional hockey and football players. Dr. Carmela Tartaglia is a specialist in chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. Tartaglia believes the NHL is ignoring research on the topic.
Any sport where the players suffer multiple concussions means these people are at risk. To say we don't have, it's not a one-to-one, well, that's like saying that everybody who smokes doesn't get lung cancer. I think we all know that. We accept that. Still, the number one risk factor for lung cancer is smoking. And right now, the number one risk factor for chronic traumatic encephalopathy are multiple concussions. To deny that is a little bit worrisome because it really means that you haven't read the literature to date.
Tartaglia says she is worried about how the game of hockey has evolved, potentially exposing players to more serious injuries.
The game got faster, people are off the ice very, very quickly, and people are hitting each other at very, very high speeds, which was not the case in the past. So I think people of today really have to take a look at the game, see how the game has changed, and see whether they're not actually at higher risk of concussions, even if there's no longer the goon hockey of the past, where people were actually on the ice fighting.
After dozens of complaints before an American court, the NHL, an organization worth $4.5 billion, proposed a compensation of up to $22,000 for the 318 former players in a lawsuit. To some, it's an insulting amount.
$22,000 is not reasonable. It's a very, very small amount. Some would even consider it a nuisance amount of money for someone just to go away. But if they've got ongoing problems, difficulty working, difficulty looking after their family, dizziness, tiredness, forgetfulness, all that makes their day-to-day lives difficult and problematic, then I would say take a seriously hard look at whether or not you want to pursue the NHL on your own. However, please understand that they're going to put a defense in front of you. They're going to fight it for a very long time. It's going to be extremely expensive. and difficult at times to face.
The NHL didn't respond to any of our interview requests. Several former players vowed to continue fighting the case and one day have the league fully acknowledge the history and impact of concussions in professional hockey.